To bring everything but the hog out. Think we eat nothing but grass, what you talking about? I'm about to jump into the whip and hit the Whole Foods early. Get everything to get that soul food working, like mac and cheese, the collard greens, the black eyed peas, and get a roast of that tofu turkey. Got cornbread, even got stuffing. Mashed potatoes so good, put your hand in it. String beans, and you know we got yams with it.
Guys, this is probably the most powerful video I've ever had to make, and it's one that I think has to be made. You know, I have made a video in the past, obviously, about my time as a slaughterhouse worker. I thoroughly recommend you go and check this out. It was really powerful. It's back when I was quite ill. Yeah, I've still got a lot of recovery still to do, but this was at a point I was quite ill, and it basically showed you everything that obviously happened in the slaughterhouse. To let you know a little about how I went vegan, and this is what this video is all about, why I went vegan. Why I went vegan, basically how it occurred is I was in hospital obviously with a relapse when my father passed away due to a major stroke and heart attack. He was 4 weeks in ICU, the intensive care unit. Basically with just days to live, his heart was hardly pumping. He passed away and I relapsed with my eating disorder at that point. I was taken into hospital with renal failure, refeeding syndrome, which basically was when they start to reintroduce calories to your body goes into shock, and I was really about to die. I fought back so much in that time, guys, in there. I was obviously had somebody watching me 24/7, making sure I didn't do any exercise, making sure I was eating my meals, and gradually I got back to being healthy, to a state to be able to care for in the community. At that point in hospital, I actually met a vegetarian. And all through my life, I knew the cruelty that obviously went on to the animals because I'd seen it in the slaughterhouse. I always had this thought that I wanted to do something to basically reduce my impact and cruelty to the animals, to the planet, and obviously to help my health as well. But I never really heard anything about being vegan because realistically, back then we had hardly heard anything. It's only in the past maybe 5 years that vegan education has absolutely boomed into the mainstream. So I met this vegetarian, and I know vegetarian isn't the full end step, and I know a lot of people say we should always go for 100% abolitionism, and I agree to that as well in a sense. But at the same time, I feel we should always congratulate people try to do their best to obviously be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. And I don't feel it's right to obviously expect people just to go vegan overnight like that, because realistically, for some people it isn't. So this vegetarian in the hospital, in the mental health ward, which was a psychiatric ward if you don't know, because that's where they usually send you when you have an eating disorder. She'd been vegetarian for like 25 years. She obviously got talking away to me when I started discussing about my time being in a slaughterhouse and such, and she says to me, do you not realise that there's no any difference with the animals that you love, such as your dog and your cat, to obviously to a cow and such? She says, I've been vegetarian for 25 years, it's probably been the best thing I've ever done. She says, it's knowing that I'm obviously helping others and obviously helping my health as well. And I know in a way, like I always say, vegetarian isn't the full step, because we all know about the dairy industry. It's just a byproduct of the beef industry. All the dairy cows are slaughtered at 6 years old after being basically stressed out to the max because they've been milked constantly over the years, 7 out of 9 months. Like I say, strapped to milking machines, their milk taken away, which is actually for their baby taken away on the day of its birth. And most of them are obviously killed by blunt force trauma to the head, and they obviously go into the veal industry. But if they're female, they obviously go straight back into the same thing that the mother went through, forcible impregnation, all through that again, their baby taken away. So we know all about that, but basically that being vegetarian, you've got to look at it and say that they're trying to do the best they can. So she get talking away with me, and it really planted that seed, and that's something I think we've always got to look at. Certain things, like I say, it's like that point system. You can be out speaking to somebody will drop something in the conversation, that clicks that little bell in your head. So that's the first part of the clue. You maybe see something in the TV, you'll maybe see a cow in the field, and it suddenly clicks that little bit. All these paths obviously lead you to the full journey to the destination, which is veganism. So that was how it first started. I obviously got out of the hospital and I started to go into YouTube because I'd recently just made a video for Men and Boys Eating Disorder Service about my time as suffering with an eating disorder. Pardon me guys. And I'd thought about doing a YouTube channel, so I started looking into YouTube and I looked up vegetarianism at that point. And I'd seen all these things about people obviously recovering for their eating disorders through vegetarianism, and then I happened to look up and I saw Michael Goodchild, the vegan activist, and he clicked a bell right with me right away. He was all about the animals and obviously the impact it had on the animals and obviously the planet as well. And right away I just got so right away I actually began to get that message that veganism is basically a non-action, it's a boycott. We don't partake in anything that obviously exploits others. And you think of it, since the dawn of time there's been 107 billion people on the earth, yet every single year we're killing right up until about 100 billion land animals, let's say 100 billion marine animals. We're actually wiping out the whole of the earth's human existence for actual consumption, and reports say that the marine life cull could be as much as 2.7 trillion each year. So the way I looked at it, I'm obviously a religious person, and through the way I look at it, let's say veganism, although it isn't a religion, it's as spiritual, it's a loving and nurturing land and earth and oceans, marine life and animals, human and non-human, and who actually all share the planet. So you can see for that description that veganism is not a diet. In the same way that we're obviously fighting for the rights in the LGBT community, for people of colour, women's rights around the world, us as vegans are obviously fighting for that species that we obviously share the planet with, which is the animals. They were here before us, and it's just speciesism. So right away I knew that I had to do something. So I obviously started my YouTube channel. I obviously went vegan in January 2016, which was actually my 36th birthday, and I actually started my YouTube channel in that day as well. So all on the same day I went vegan. I started my YouTube channel. It was obviously my 36th birthday. So a couple of months I started to get into vegan activism. I obviously went to the Save movement and actually met a woman called Lynn Jolly at the Veg Fest festival, sorry. She got talking away to me and it just clicked right away. She was all about the animals, she was passionate. She got me into vegan activism, and that's what all started my vegan activism, guys, was meeting that person. She was the last piece of the jigsaw basically. Everything she said resonated with me. She had a photo of a little dog Nipper and obviously the cow, and she'd done face by face. It just clicked with me right away, and I thought, I've got to do something for the animals, because working in that slaughterhouse, like I say, in the morning what we would actually do is we'd put our whites on, which was our white uniform, we'd have a hairnet, wellies, and all this was to obviously make sure that you didn't have any fecal matter, pus and blood, which you obviously got so often. You would get in the morning, the cows would be getting hosed down obviously for slaughter, and basically what happens, that they would be coming down the laneage, which is obviously the lane that they bring them down. They'd be stunned, they'd be shackled up, their throats slit, and then they would obviously be dehydrated, their hinds. And obviously at the end of the process, you'd actually have a veterinary surgeon there, which absolute joke, you know, a veterinary surgeon. This is the people that obviously we have to protect and look after the animals, yet they're working in places like this. Who are they really protecting, you know what I mean? But it's disgusting. You had long hours in that place. It was like 16 hours a day. You were getting in the morning when it was absolutely pitch dark. You were coming back out when it was pitch dark at night. I was actually earning £2.50 an hour at that point. You were treated basically like a slave. They treat the animals the way they treat their workers, and that is honestly true, guys. You had so much going on in there, like I say. You could see it in the animals' eyes. I used to go through in the morning, I was collecting the offal, which is obviously the liver, the kidneys, the heart, the tongue especially. I had to bag things like the tongue. Lifting the tongue up actually made me vomit. And I used to go up to the toilets upstairs, obviously at the cafeteria, and I'd sit in there sometimes for 15 minutes just crying my eyes out, because You know what I mean? I was part of it. I was a meat packer. No, I didn't obviously kill the animals, and I couldn't do that. I would never do that. I told them that if they even forced me into that, I was walking out. Like I say, I get forced into things like the freezer department, and obviously the loading bay, which is obviously when they load them onto the lorries. So I seen all these things happening. I used to walk past, and obviously they had a detain rail, which was basically where all the inspectors would obviously check out the carcasses. But they'd put their hand in their anus and obviously scrape out the anal cavity to look for things like cancers and such. Certain animals had actually cancers, hepatitis, all kinds of different things. Some of the times you'd actually walk past and there would be fetuses lying at the bottom of the cow that had just been slaughtered. And that's what people don't understand. The dairy industry is a byproduct of this, because these are all spent dairy cows at 6 years old. It's disgusting. You've seen the tears in their eyes. They were just looking at you to say, help me, help me, help me. And you didn't have that connection, because closed consciousness, and that's basically what it is. You would see that going on, and you were still going up to the cafeteria, and they would obviously be using the products that the animals had actually been killed for, their flesh. And that's exactly what it is. It's not beef. That's a euphemism. Same as what they call things like obviously bacon rashers. It's a euphemism. It's to trick you, the public, into believing what it is. They don't want you to know actually what goes on in these places. That's why they haven't got glass walls, guys. I used to see the animals, one of the animals actually got out, and it was running all about the slaughterhouse. They actually had to open the doors, and it obviously got out into the community, and it was actually shot dead in the tracks. Which just shows you that they're slaves basically, and that's what it is. They are slaves, and you've got to understand that. You've got to see these places in person to actually know what goes on. Like I say, the industry obviously use things like grass-fed, organic, and obviously things like free range, all because these are expensive products. And like I say, that's just to trick you into this humane myth that these animals are obviously killed humanely. There's nothing humane about that, guys. There's nothing humane about killing an animal or any being that doesn't want to die. They are all on this planet to serve themselves, not us. And we're all so close conscious of what's actually going on. People have said to me, oh my God, you've been brainwashed by all these idiots on the internet. No, I wasn't brainwashed. I've actually been brainwashed into believing that we actually needed these things and not seeing what actually was going on. It took me many, many years to see through the truth, guys. And that's why I always fight for the animals every single day, because I owe it to them. I owe it to their brothers, their sisters, their mothers, because we've all paid for this, and I made an earning off it, though I wasn't actually in there by my own accord. I was forced in there by the job centre because I was a semi-professional footballer and I wasn't earning money at the time. But that's still not an excuse, like I say. That's why slaughterhouse workers think that we're trying to take away their jobs. No, we aren't trying to take away their jobs. We're just trying to get them to get a more ethical occupation that obviously doesn't involve a victim, because that's what it's all about. Like I say, at the end of the day, we should be looking at it at the victim, the oppressor, first and foremost, and then obviously the workers secondly. That's what it's always about. And always, like I say, our everyday choices, what we eat for dinner, what detergent we use, what we wash our clothes with, what we wear, even what we actually spend our leisure time doing, they all may seem unimportant, let's say, but when you actually make these choices, choices for someone else's life, in fact, each non-vegan can actually save hundreds of animals every single year, guys. Like I say, that's why I went vegan, and you always used to see it in the slaughterhouse. Like I say, they'll obviously tell you that they care about the workers and such like. No, they don't. They don't even care about the animals. They don't care about the workers. They don't care about the public. They care about the almighty dollar. I used to see it often. You would obviously get pieces of meat like the rump and such likes. It would obviously have cysts and growths on it. They were cutting that off. They were repackaging it through the cryovac machine, which is obviously a vacuum pack machine. It would be sent through. They'd redate it with a new date to obviously fool the shops that they were sending them to. So this is the thing they all do, guys. So not only are you consuming things that's obviously like I say, consume suffering, you actually become suffering. You're consuming things that's got cancers and everything in them. You don't see that. They're obviously disguising it with new dates and such likes, and most people don't know that the slaughterhouses are actually run by a lot of supermarkets. It's disgusting, guys. Like I say, we're here for the animals, and we're all here to live together, and that's why I went vegan, and I hope you do the same. Like I say, being vegan isn't the least you can do, it's the most you can do. I hope this has kind of set the record straight, guys. If you would like any more comments on this, please let me know down below. Please go and check out my time as a slaughterhouse worker. I would love to do some interviews on TV and radio, getting right into more about this. Like I say, it's terrible. And the one thing that I would say to you is, what's really harmed me most of anything is I go to bed at night, and every single night I suffer with what I would probably say is PTSD, because I just look back and I'm disgusted with myself, guys. I really am. Every single night I get nightmares and such likes, and especially when I go to slaughterhouses, I get flashbacks when I look at the trucks and such, and it's really wearing on me. It's really causing a lot of mental issues with me, because I've got to keep fighting for the animals, but it's really getting hard because I'm disgusted. Like I say, I don't judge anybody. If anybody, they should judge me, because I was part of that, and I just fight for every single day for the animals for that reason. So thank you very much, guys, for listening. It would really mean the world for a thumbs up and a subscribe, and like I say, keep fighting for the animals, for all yous out there being vegan and obviously active as well. Like I say, 1 in 100 people are vegan and 1 in 100 vegans are activists, so the more people we can have active, the better. Like I say, spreading the message, that's what it's all about. Be kind to every kind. The only difference is your perception, as I always say, and that's true, and this video demonstrates that in every single way. Binge on life, purge negativity and starve guilty feelings, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Binge on life, purge negativity and starve guilty feelings. Speak to you all soon, and love you so much.